one, takes a look. Deflection scores! Letang! Could you script it any better than this?
Pitch it to Najee Harris. Harris sidesteps, gets to the sideline. Najee Harris dives for the pylon. Touchdown, Steelers.
I don't think I expected anything less.
That's unbelievable. It is absolutely incredible.
Welcome to another live edition of Pittsburgh Sportsline in the BPTV studio right here at 5100 West Library Avenue in the Municipal Building, right near the police station. Thank you for watching us. We appreciate you. Thanks for, you got to help me out there. Nick just came from Blackhawk baseball. Update from the game.
6-4 final, Bethel Park won.
Go
Improves to 5-2
Blackhawks.
on the season in section, and leads Class 5A Section 2 of the WPIAL.
We need another championship. I did their back-to-back. Smoking, you'll come later. All right, we're trying to do our show. Thanks for watching us on Facebook. We appreciate it. Nick got me there. All right, Chief McElroy's watching. Thanks for tuning in. We're on YouTube. Hey, sad to say we hit that 400 a few weeks ago. We're at 398. So somebody boost us up. I'm checking this phone. And we appreciate you interacting with us. And we got a little technical adjustment or two. So Nick's trying to make us look more handsome here with himself. We'll see what happens. We got Steve, the MVP, came back. You know it's tax day. And he told me before we start the show, tell Smoking Jim, you've never filed taxes, so don't ask me about doing your taxes because you don't have the money to pay me. And
unless you weren't paid in $1 bills.
Well, he'd need a lot of them, bigger than his roll. So he told me to do that, and just so you know, he's my best friend. To Tony from our Keystone Oaks class, number 77, who watches our show, he loves us. He goes, I love Smoking Jim, Al, but what's he saying? So he goes, I like how you counter him. So I tried to nip him in the bud on this one. And we appreciate Steve here. We got Linda's with us, got Jada here, and we got Vinny. Vinny, who's a rising rookie of the year like Steve was. He's in the control room.
Can we trust him? I guess we'll find out.
Trust him. I trust him 100%.
Apparently we are.
I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. Smoking Jim Frazier. Chip Painter's back. And Nick Callis, fresh from announcing baseball.
Life's exhausting.
Well, you made it. You made it right at the 7 o'clock witching hour, which is ours.
They started 15 minutes late. It was no good. Yeah.
Why can't you control the start of the game? You're
was
getting like boxing.
It was so bad out there.
How bad
I
was
know.
Oh my! It was like hail.
We got
I
hit.
felt bad. I had a student running camera out the trunk of my van. It was like, it was cold. I was
Well,
like, take a break. He took like an inning. He just sat in the van. I'm like, yeah, it's cold. No good. I was like, no.
We appreciate your comments. Drew and I went around before he had to go to work, and we must have had that rainstorm and hail.
Yeah, no good.
And it was all, I'm driving through it like it was a spring day.
I was out treating lawns today. Hail, sun, high winds. The
All
only
right.
thing we didn't have was a plague of locusts.
Well, that wasn't, you're getting biblical on us. We'll save that for the end of the show. And please listen to our promos and check out our new promos with a couple events coming up soon. If you can donate and help out with them, I appreciate it, and especially our normal promos. So we're going there in 10 seconds.
My name is Nicholas Callis, and this is the Bethel Park Minute. The Bethel Park Regular Council meeting will take place on Monday, April 14th at 7:30 p.m. in Council Chambers. You can watch the meeting live on BPTV Cable. You can also stream the meeting live on the Municipality of Bethel Park Facebook page and BPTV's YouTube channel. The public, as always, is invited to attend. No Cook Tuesdays continue this week at the Bethel Park Community Center from 4 to 7 p.m. in the playground parking lot. Check Bethel Park Recreation socials for a list of their weekly food trucks. If you're interested in making sure that the Silver Tea Line continues to operate, you can express your opinion at this week's No Cook Tuesday or join PRT for an online forum on Wednesday the 16th at 6 p.m. To register for the online event, you can sign up using the URL on your screen. Bethel Park Recreation is hiring summer camp counselors. They're still hiring, and they're looking for boys and girls ages 16 and older. The pay is $13.50 per hour. Go to Bethel Park's website and look for the careers page to apply. The first monthly yard waste drop-off will take place this Saturday on Slater Road from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Go to bethelparkpa.gov for more information. The Bethel Park Community Center and the Bethel Park Library will be closed on Easter Sunday. The Community Center gym will also be closed Thursday, April 17th through Sunday, April 27th for floor resurfacing. And don't forget the Bethel Park Job Fair is taking place on April 26th from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Bethel Park Community Center. Anyone looking for a job is invited to attend. My name is Nicholas Callis, and this has been the Bethel Park Minute.
Frank Fanera, owner of Olive Oil's Pizzeria and the Hillcrest Shopping Center on Route 88. Call them at 412-831-1900. Every Tuesday night, Olive Oil's Pizzeria provides the host and the amazing volunteer crew with an XL pepperoni pizza and a full steak hoagie. They are delicious. Olive Oils is proud to support Pittsburgh Sportsline and the volunteers at BPTV. Stay Joey strong. Joey Fabus died at 8 years old of brain cancer known as DIPG. Since then, the family has come together with community members to create the Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit. Since being founded, they've raised over $100,000. Go to jfccf.org to learn more about DIPG, to help spread awareness, and to see how else you can support and donate towards the fight against this dreaded brain cancer. Always Be Smiling, a 501c3 designed to help children and families in need of kidney transplants. The B stands for Bennett, whose memory is embedded in this organization by his parents, Kristen and Dean. Despite the challenges he faced in his 16 and a half years of life, Bennett always had a smile on his face and spread kindness to everyone he could. Now, Always Be Smiling wants to pass on that kindness. Go to alwaysbesmiling.org to learn more and see how you can support or donate to this organization. The Bethel Park Community Foundation has money for you. I'm Al Levine, trustee on the board of this great organization. The BPCF focuses on raising money to provide scholarships, grants, endowments, and more. Grant requests are available online from $100 to $5,000. You can also attend fundraisers or donate. Go to bpcf.org to get more information and to stay up to date on upcoming events. The Bethel Park Community Foundation, focusing community resources, building for the future. The Bethel Park Historical Society is a 501c3 that serves Bethel Park. The Historical Society operates out of the Schoolhouse Arts and History Center, located at 2600 South Park Road. Look for the red and white trolley right out front. Reginald's Coffee is inside, and I've heard it's the best coffee around. To visit this great historical venue, email historicalsocietybp@gmail.com. Hey, thanks for checking out our promos and all that. You know, we talk a lot of sports, but these promos in the community mean a lot. And check out Olive Oil's Pizzeria there. I went there and they had over 30 pizzas they were doing, and we got our pepperoni pizza and our steak hoagie cut in 6 slices. I salute you, Frank Fanera. Thank you. All right, we do What's on Your Mind. right now. So what's on your mind? Smoking Jim wearing my Coliseum Combat Zone LLC hat, MMA.
Thanks,
looks good on
the
you.
talking machine. And if you want the green, you got to see Levine. Oh, man, I tell you what, Ben, you having these packets that close to Nick, I didn't think I was going to be able to see them because we're both addicted to these.
No. I just think they're interesting. I'm not particularly fond of relish.
Smoking Jim, little disclaimer before we start. You know he doesn't tell the truth.
Correct.
Nick doesn't
Since
like
when?
relish. Well, to all of you that are his fans and friends, and we don't know how many family, 122 godchildren, 3,800 cousins, and we don't know how many family members he has, and we'll go from there.
Hey, where I get my discounted hats at, my boy, he also could get me two together. but I found out Ovechkin's probably not going to play on Thursday, so I told him I don't need the tickets, but I'll take another hat.
Hey, Smokin', I sent a message to him that his biggest fan in Pittsburgh that doesn't know hockey would love to see you play, but he won't be there.
Yeah.
So he didn't come.
But hey, Al Levine, the talking machine. You know, we're gearing up for the draft. Me and Nick, Chip was talking a little bit before the show. And listen, the Pittsburgh Steelers got a few holes. They're a Super Bowl caliber team, but they got a few holes. Al Levine, the talking machine, and I always put a caveat. Is that a word? I've been trying to fit that word in all week.
As a 50 center.
But hey, listen.
And Chip knows.
The greatest offensive lineman all around I ever seen play college football was Bill Fralick. He played high school ball near Gateway. Al Levine, the talking machine, but the most devastating lineman I ever seen in my life was Tony Mandridge. Tony Mandridge was 335 pounds, ran a 4.6 40, bench press 700 pounds, ate 12 meals a day. They were playing Georgia one time. He played for Michigan State. The brother defensive tackle for Georgia was scared to rush after the first quarter because Tony Mandridge was so physical. The Pittsburgh Steelers drafted in the first round John Rienstra. And Rienstra was the powerlifting champ, NCAA powerlifting champ, 305, went down to 250 after steroids. Mandridge went from 335 to 280 with zits all over his back. So you never know about
Sorry,
steroids.
fams. It's a family-friendly
You never
show,
know about
so-
steroids.
Yeah.
But the best defensive lineman I've seen, and he'll be there in the first round, since Aaron Donald, who played high school ball near Gateway.
Penn Hills,
Al Levine, the talking machine.
Pitt.
Al Levine, the talking
Yeah,
machine.
still here.
Is a guy I always say, if you can get a white guy with a black name, Ty Robinson from Nebraska, you got something good. Al Levine, the talking machine, he's 6'6", 310 pounds. The only thing that scares me is he really came on his last year. You know what I mean? He was a 4-star recruit coming out of high school, so he's very good. This guy is so dominant, you can't block him. He's fast. He runs a 4.7 40, bench presses 400 pounds. And I tell you what, this guy is a manster. Half man, half monster. But he played his best ball his senior year, was only okay the other year. So if he's not on steroids, if I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers, I'm taking a white guy with a black name, Ty Robinson from Nebraska.
Does he think he's corn-fed?
Yeah. Hey, there's a question up here, guy in the red.
Oh, there's a point. You were talking defense, so I understand why you didn't mention John Kolb, the strongest NFL lineman in history.
Yes.
And he was a big guy, and I saw him after he retired.
Yes.
He was down to my size at 210.
Yes, sir. You're right.
And he still looked good, and he does motivational speaking. You should go hear him. I heard people tell me that Smoking Jim should go to get inspired. And then we have the 21st draft pick. And, you know, I don't follow the draft much and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you know about this guy, and he's that good a manster, does anybody else need a defensive lineman?
Well, I knew about T.J. Watt, and nobody.
No, but
drafted
I'm
him
asking you a direct point about what you talked about. I'm not going in the past. You're stuck in the past, my man. You're
No,
getting too old.
I'm just giving you an
no,
example.
I didn't need that.
In my draft report, I said
didn't need
T.J.
that.
Watt was the best defensive player I've ever seen in my life, and he almost
What
went the
year of
second
the
round.
draft is this? 2025?
Eeny, meeny, miny. I can need Fishback for these numbers.
Did you graduate Gateway, or did they
I need
just?
Fishback to crunch these
No,
numbers.
he graduated that school that's close to
Yeah,
Penn Hills.
folks, I'm going to let him go down the rabbit hole. It's a draft of 2025. Whatever T.J. Watt got drafted, I'm sure they knew about him, and somebody else needed him. My point to you was, other teams need a defensive lineman like that, and
Yeah.
we're number 21 out of 32.
He'll be there.
I wanted him to say that.
Yes, sir.
We'll move on. Thank you, Smoking. It's
Getting an
tough.
answer out of him is like pulling teeth.
I know. Chip, sorry, I had to pause. Rarely do we
No,
have
that's
dead
okay.
air. That wore me out tremendously. I'm bleeding. You can't tell because I got red.
Give me one of these
Chip,
white plates.
Chip, what's on your mind?
Well, thank you, Alan. And good evening, everybody. It's interesting to be back here for a second week in a row. But just to speak to Alan's favorite hockey player, Alex Ovechkin, I think somebody that had a much more impressive career, even though he played far fewer games. I look at the number of goals that Alex Ovechkin scored in 1,487 games. And I did the math, and that was averaging 0.6 goals per game, which is a pretty good average.
Good ratio.
Then I look at the Penguins' former owner, number 1 draft pick, Mario Lemieux. In 915 games, he scored 690 goals. That's 0.75 goals per game. So
He doesn't do math.
we have to, if we're going to make a fuss about Ovechkin, let's show some love for the homegrown.
Well, the last thing on that point is Smoking Jim only became a hockey fan being on our show for 14 years. So.
Well, he became a hockey fan the minute everybody started hating Yager.
Well, only because he liked strip clubs and Kit Kat bars, and he drove fast.
Yeah. No, I thought he'd just like not tipping anybody.
Well, he needed the money for gambling. Chip, the degenerate gamblers, a.k.a. Smoking Jim, stick
Did it come out your
together.
nose?
Almost.
There's no cranberry in it, so it's better.
So what's really truly on my mind, and everybody knows that I have an undying passion and love, and I support the Pittsburgh Pirates, and I have almost my entire life, and I always will. But I'm going to take the Pittsburgh Pirates organization to task for the way that they've handled their treatment of the fans this year. And I brought this up last week.
This is the second week in a row.
And you know what? And it's because
Pittsburgh Sportsline
I can be
history.
objective and be critical of them at the same time and still support them.
Thanks,
and,
Chip.
And and root for them to do better. But last week we brought up the fact that they dropped the ball big time on the Clemente logo on the Clemente wall, and, which they said, oh, we're going to make that right. And then Travis Williams owned it and said it was my mistake. And then we had the Bucko Bricks story, which has been all over the airwaves for the past week. And, finally there's an apology that was given to Trib Live by Bob Nutting about how he was embarrassed and, it's a bad representation of the way they feel about the fans and so forth and so on, and that, something's going to be done about that. And, an apology in the newspaper, it sounds all well and good, but to me, it seems a bit disingenuous because here's what my thoughts are. Okay, if you're going to do something to make it right, what is it that you're going to do to make it right? And let's not wait around and just do it. Saying that, oh, I was embarrassed, that does nothing for me. What are you going to do about it? And I honestly think somebody should be made an example of. Whoever was responsible for unceremoniously getting rid of those things, they should be looking for a job. So, saying that you're embarrassed, saying that you're going to do something, it just isn't good enough.
Chip
for
wants
me.
to fire members of the Pirates. Let's go. Yeah.
Chip, I agree with you. And my thing is I heard some rumors that came from Nutting. And Travis Williams was the fall guy.
Well, somebody needs to be made an example. I don't know, and
I heard that just on the street
Alan,
from some sports people.
That's neither here nor there because that's all conjecture. That's
I'm
all
saying that.
conjecture.
Yeah, I'm saying that.
So the next thing up is looking at the performance of the Pirates on the field this year. Their performance on the field, I think, is way below the line that we were anticipating from them. I was anticipating a team that was actually going to compete this year, that was going to contend. And the example of the play on the field that I have seen this year so far to date, I find it unacceptable. There's too many mental errors being made. And these are things that, I hate to say this, but, Derek Shelton should be put on notice. And I am looking at, give him to the end of April, maybe the first 2 weeks of May, and if you don't see a significant improvement in a team that's above 500, it might be time to make a change.
Well, Chip, we talked privately. Tell them what you're saying about the players.
Well,
because this is an important thing, because I sort of acquiesce a little bit. The coaches don't mean as much with what you're going to bring up.
Well, and the players' performance on the field is 100% on the players. But if the message from the manager isn't motivating them,
that's what I'm getting
to perform better on the field, then they need to change the message.
No,
because
and that's my point.
We have changed multiple coaches. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not seeing a significant improvement. I mean, actually, the play of the outfield is subpar, with the exception of Andrew McCutchen.
Yeah.
Probably one of the oldest guys on the team, who's still like he's drinking from the fountain of youth. O'Neal Cruz is not consistent in the way he plays. He can make a good play, one play, and then botch a completely routine play on the next because it doesn't look like he's focused.
Yeah.
Like something's got to be done. And here's what the thing is. You got a 40-man roster, and the guys that are on the 40-man roster are what you have. It's not like we have 50 guys in the minor leagues that are just itching to break into the minors. So you can't fire the team. The person delivering the message may be the person that needs to go.
Well, Chip, to your point, Drew and I talk about baseball. He loves baseball too. And he goes, Dad, how do they have 4 guys under the Mendoza line? And wasn't Derek Shelton a hitting coach? So where is he on that? So I said, I'll ask Chip.
Well, and
you just led into it, so I had to bring it up.
Well, and I'm saying, the Pirates could very easily turn this around. Okay, I think they've got players that are capable of it. And who knows? Maybe 2 weeks from now, they put together a streak and they get themselves over 500, and maybe they're contending for the Central Division. The narrative will change. But right now, what I'm seeing, just isn't good enough.
Now, why do you think I said last year so much? Because you got a team on the precipice of greatness. They made it into August, and they were competitive. That's the time where you want to make changes in the offseason to change that message. I feel like it's not like too late, but it's like almost too late to change that message this season. And that's a whole nother season that will be lost. Because now we're going to have Don Kelly, the manager? Like, that doesn't excite anyone.
Well, you know what? And I don't know who's out there and available because I haven't looked. But something's
Terry Francona was available,
and I don't think you write. I don't think you write off this season at all because I think the Pirates have a tremendous opportunity this year, considering the weakness of the division that we're playing in.
Right. Well, I'm going to bring up something personal with Chip because we talked about it. He had a great dad, baseball family. What do you think your dad would say? May he rest in peace, and thanks for his service as a veteran. What do you think he would say?
Well, like when you see the plays that O'Neal Cruz lollygags, that's a word that he used.
Yeah.
I could think of another word, but we got to keep it clean. He would be pulling splinters out of the seat of his pants.
Oh, he wouldn't be in the field.
There you go.
I'm a straight man. No, I had to bring that up. Thanks, Chip. And once in a while we put personal things because we've all played sports, and we're not just busting chops here. We watch it, and we want all our teams to do well. And we'll just go with that. Thanks, guys, for having a good discussion there. We're going to move on. What's on your mind? Nick Callis, fresh from the baseball park.
Yeah.
Come in strong.
I can't come in too strong because I do want to talk about the Pirates, but not yet. because
A tease for you.
there's a whole opinion segment for that one, and I call it my very important position segment. So we'll get there. We'll get there in time because I know a little more about what's going on, and it's weird. It's a very weird dynamic that's going on with the Pirates.
Don't
right now.
tease us anymore.
No,
Put
we'll
out
get there.
what you want right now.
So the Steelers. Let's see. So Shedeur Sanders is now the guy, right? He's the next guy. We're talking about potentially bringing him in. The Steelers have interest in him. Don't look too far into that though, because this is a draft. It's not a free agent signing. I mean, if he makes it down to 21, cool. If the Steelers decide to trade up, which I don't think they would do, cool. I don't know. But that's I'm not too interested in this. Like, I'm not too interested in seeing any Kenny Pickett 2.0s coming around here, because think about the way that this is all getting paved right now. You got Mason Rudolph back on the team. The Steelers want to sign a veteran quarterback and then draft a quarterback. So you've got 2022 all over again. If you think about it, if Aaron Rodgers actually signs here, the Steelers draft a quarterback in the first round, and Mason Rudolph's on the team. And you know what's going to happen? Aaron Rodgers is going to start for 3 weeks and do terrible. Shedeur Sanders is going to come in and play mediocre, and Mason Rudolph isn't going to get a chance. It's going to happen again.
Nostradamus is on Pittsburgh Sportsline.
Huh. So. That's what you have to look forward to if you're rooting for the Steelers. But I got to give a little respect to the Steelers, because when everything is terrible, the Steelers look good, right? Like, we're not in the NFL season right now, so I think this is the time where we can adequately appreciate the Steelers and the fact that they seem to give some version of an effort in the offseason by spending money and making people interested in the Steelers year after year because they make the playoffs. And there's always that question of, are they going to win a playoff game?
For 7 years, no.
So at least they're interesting. Now, they haven't fallen to a point yet where they're not making the playoffs like the Penguins, but they're trying. And so when you look at where the Penguins are right now, and they don't really know where they are, it doesn't seem like there's no clear path forward, and the Pirates are not good.
Well, the
and not good
Penguins
enough.
didn't make the playoffs for the third year.
That's what I'm saying. So they're
just wanted to clarify
but
that.
But the management's talking, like Kyle Dubas is like, oh, we just we'll figure it out, and I'm like, will you figure it out? Are you sure? Don't think so.
What's he getting paid? That's what he figures out.
There you go. So, they want to be competitive. That's what he's saying. Whatever. I don't think they're going to be competitive. They don't have a good structure. So the Steelers also don't have a good structure, but right now they're still interesting. And so I just think that that's an interesting dynamic that, I mean, think about this, too. Like, think about how much hope we had for the Pirates this season. And again, it's not a write-off, but it's getting close. And think about how high everybody was on the Pirates, like going into the MLB offseason, where it was like, well, think about what moves the Pirates could make, what signings they could make, what veterans they could attach to this team to enhance the prospects that they have coming through the system, right? All of these hopes were coming in. People were saying the Pirates are the next closest to a championship in Pittsburgh. It was wonderful. It was a great time, and then they didn't do anything. And so then we just revert back to, okay, well, the Steelers...
Who was saying that?
People,
yeah.
Okay, I never heard it.
You listen to the... but people
heard it.
People were calling the fan. People were calling the radio station.
Where
They were
I
saying
go,
the Pirates
I
won.
one question
heard
for
it.
Smoking Jim.
Oh, I know why you're doing this.
Yeah, he wants to take you down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Just wanted to warn you.
Well, I'm already going down a rabbit hole. I mean, I'm just talking about why the Steelers... We should bow to the Steelers in the NFL every waking second, because... Major League Baseball is broken, and the Pirates didn't do anything this offseason. So I think it's just an interesting dynamic, though. Like, as time passes, how our perspectives can change on things. Like, we had so much hope for the Pirates, but, like, the fantasies and the visions that we had for what we expected in this offseason did not come to fruition. And, again, the Penguins are lost. And so, now we look to the Steelers and we go, hey, well, at least you got DK Metcalf. At least Aaron Rodgers is interesting. At least George Pickens is an interesting nightmare of a player, right? And so at least the Steelers,
He can catch, though.
they're interesting, and that's the whole point. The Pirates, they're not interesting. Like, even if they start winning games a little bit, like you see the attendance numbers at PNC Park, like nobody wants to go really and look at this team. It's no good. So
ding.
I mean, that's a big problem. So like the Steelers, I'm saying, I just think it's an interesting dynamic. I was thinking about this the other day. I'm like, how quickly things change when our expectations weren't met with one organization, while the NFL organization continues to punch above weight and do all these things to make us like interested. Like, I wish just the Pirates like what I was talking about with Chip, like that's why you want to fire the manager that's not doing the right things while the team's kind of constructed good, because you never know what could happen. And now we know what's going to happen with Derek Shelton. Like they're starting to, they may have peaked under Derek Shelton. We don't know that for sure. We haven't finished the season yet, but I'm tired of losing seasons. So, go Steelers, I guess. I mean, look forward to the draft next week.
I got to give Chip a rebuttal.
So, yeah, talking about attendance at any major league park right now in April, I think that's a joke, because who's going to sit at baseball games when it's 35 or 40 degrees? I don't care.
Coming down
I don't care if you have every all-star in the league in your lineup. I'm looking at
Yankees
attendance across Major League Baseball. I am seeing a lot of fans disguised as empty seats. It doesn't matter which team it is.
All right.
But the problem is the Pirates, well, they've been close to the bottom before. Then they were going up. Like, here's the thing. I'm talking about trajectories.
We had $2 million last year.
We're going up, a little bit up. And now they're going way down. Like, they have bottomed out. They are one of the worst attended games now in the league.
I think that has more to do with the weather than anything else.
It's just to sell the team chanced in. I'm telling you, a crowd of 8,000 people could be heard chanting "sell the team." That's not good. I'm just saying, that's not the weather. That's the perception of Pittsburgh right now. And I'm going to talk about Bob Nutting later. That's the perception of Pittsburgh right now, is sell the team. You can't mask that one, Chip. That's a thing that happened. It happened, and I was there on opening day when the Yankees series. Sell the team. They're booing Shelton. They're booing Colin Holderman, and they're chanting "sell the team." And Bob Nutting's up in his suite, poor guy, getting just people yelling at him. I mean, that's a culture. That's not the weather. Go ahead.
I'm a little older than you, and we saw something worse called cocaine.
Oh, what?
And I went to ball games then. My ex-wife had a uncle that was an usher. We'd go sit right under the press box, and I'm under the press box then, and I'm looking out, and there were 800 people.
Wait.
And Three Rivers Stadium, 800 people.
Wait.
I'm glad you're laughing.
What are we doing?
I'm trying to tell you that.
Oh, I love you. Look at me. I
went through worse things than you're talking about. To me, this is so laughable. I went to games when there was less than 1,500. We went to about 20 games.
Your point's taken. That's not the first thing. I always try to think of what you're going to say to like have a conversation.
You can't get in this. You can't air.
You know what I went through, Nick? Cocaine.
Well, imagine one of my favorite ball players, Dave Parker, was on it. This is the memories that I have.
I get the drug trials.
I was your age.
I understand what you're saying. It's just
hold it. I was
the way you delivered it.
I was only a
Pirates
couple
have been
years.
through a lot worse.
Right.
And I've seen it happen in my lifetime.
That's what I'm trying to put it in perspective.
The Pirates have been
for
through
you.
a lot worse. And
You're
I've seen it happen
100%
in my
spot
lifetime.
on.
Yeah, but the problem is they've made the playoffs 3 times in like years, and I haven't been alive for a World Series. That's why I'm just saying. That's why I'm so passionate about this. You saw a World Series. You saw a World Series. You didn't care enough to watch the World Series, I'm sure.
I was born,
but you were alive for it, maybe. Allegedly.
I watched 2 World Series, and I was downtown Pittsburgh when they were burning cars and flipping cars after World Series.
What are the chances he was born in 1980? Because then he could technically say
100%.
100%. No,
Yeah.
no. Okay.
Yeah, because he just was sleeping pre-show, so we don't know what's going on.
He was finishing up his career at Cal.
Yeah.
R.I.P. to Cal, Penn West.
Yeah. Cal U, baby. All right.
Yeah, I think this just spawns from me not seeing a World Series. That's the only thing.
Well,
like I can only know what I know.
I have a son older than you.
I'm sure.
34, and he tells me, "Dad, am I ever going to see a World Series?" And I said, "I wouldn't bet on it."
Oh yeah. You
like
know what?
things were bad, but they've always recovered at some point in your time in the 70s and 80s.
The Pirates have been through far worse in their history, and if you just look back through the history from the caliber of the teams that played in the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s.
Well, they won a World Series in the 20s, so you go 20 years, 30s, 40s, that's great. Then they won in 1960.
Well, you forgot about the 50s?
1909.
You forgot about the 50s? Okay, because there was the 30s, the 40s, and the 50s. That was a
Ralph
35.
Kiner got
Yeah.
sent away. Oh, terrible.
Yeah, Branch Rickey said, "I can lose 100 games without you."
So the worst thing in the world is you guys had the home run leader on your team. I mean, like, what are we doing here? Like,
Well,
No, that gave us the hope.
that's what I'm saying. So,
But I was only in diapers.
like, when you're watching the Pirates, I don't care what low points you had. Like, I'm sure there were points
Hold
where
it,
you were
we
like,
do. I take offense.
that's
to
what I'm
that.
saying. I'm sure there were points where you're like, oh, look, there's hope, and there was like the down times, but then like they figured it out. This Pirates team doesn't have much direction now.
You know
And I'm
what?
not saying it's the worst in
Okay,
history.
but-
I'd have to go back and do research, but it's bad.
Oh, I don't argue that.
It's really bad.
I'm just saying it was worse
The
because
thing
of
about
cocaine.
baseball is that there's always hope every spring.
It's eternal.
Good point.
Yeah, well, now
That's the beautiful thing about the game of baseball.
that's tremendous.
Is that there is hope every spring.
And they gave us hope
And then
the
you
last
play
two
the
seasons.
first game and it goes out the window. But, I mean, there is always hope.
Well, a little side note, I'm happy I have a sister, my baby sister's Hope, so we never lose hope. And I'll leave it on that. And Al, what's on your mind? They covered everything I was going to talk about and even more. And Aaron Rodgers, he plays everybody like a fiddle. He's one of the richest quarterbacks, so why does he even have to play? But he's stringing everybody along. So we'll see what happens there. What struck my interest is I watch golf once in a while. My dad said his favorite golfer was Tiger Woods.
Wow.
And he loved basketball, watch it all the time. And I'd catch him during the summer and stuff watching Tiger Woods. So I have a little interest in it. And Rory McIlroy, I worked with a bunch of McIlroys, shout out to Chief and Harry and all the other guys in my union.
That's right.
So when he came along, we would kid about, oh, are you a golfer? These guys were tennis players and baseball and football guys. So he did something that is rare. He got a grand slam in his career, and he did that the other day after he bogeyed the 18th hole, went into a playoff, and guess what? They put him on the same hole, and he birdied it and won the Masters. Smoking Jim, they give out green jackets. It's the opposite of yours, but they give him a green jacket.
And they actually fit.
Yeah. Yeah. And he keeps losing weight. He's down about a size. He might only be 5.5X. He was at 6X when I got him his tux, and he looked great in it. But he's going down. But yeah, shout out to Rory McIlroy. He doesn't have to win anything else. He's already with the top 5 or 6 golfers. Arnold Palmer, try to say that 3 times. He didn't get a grand slam, and he was one of the greatest from Latrobe. Go ahead.
My favorite golfer, the greatest of all time, without any question, was Jack Nicklaus.
Yeah.
I loved watching him. Not only did he win 18 majors, 32 times he came in second place in majors.
That's incredible.
That's an incredible record.
No, and it's just great to see, great golf in anybody in any sport. So it's appreciated there, no doubt. Just wanted to shout that out. All right, we got to go to another segment, one of the favorite segments on Pittsburgh Sportsline. Yeah, it's with Smokin' Jim. Fiction and fact from Smokin' Jim Frazier. Get ready. Here he comes. He's up.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. We got Jada, we got Fish back, we got my girl Linda in the house. Give them a round of applause. We got Vinny in the control room doing well.
Yeah.
On the 1s and 2s, right?
Yeah, but Al Levine.
How's his voice? How's Vinny's
Vinny
voice?
got a great voice, and he's intelligent. He's an engineering major.
No, he's an engineer.
He's an engineer?
Yeah.
Okay. Al Levine, the talking machine. We all know that the Pirates is cursed because of Sid Bream. We know the Penguins are cursed what they did to Marc-Andre Fleury. And we know the Steelers are cursed what they did to Santonio Holmes. The reason that Coach Tomlin is going to the Hall of Fame is because this guy connects so well with the league because it's 80% black. Here's something that you need to know.
Disclaimer. Smoking Jim's a known black man, and he's not racist.
Wait a minute.
Or should I say African American? How do y'all like to say that?
You don't have to say anything.
Okay. Levine,
We're all Americans.
Here's the things the facilities that's rated. You know, I'm a traveling man. If you're traveling around the country like Najee
Where do you live?
Like Najee Harris,
Where do you live?
L.A. The facilities are so much better than they are in Pittsburgh.
These were released 2 months ago. What are you doing?
He just read about it.
I'm just giving.
He just read about
You know, our fans aren't
Just
up
go with
on
it.
everything, but I just want to talk about this because I didn't get a chance to talk about it 2 months ago.
He just
Treatment
read it.
of family, F-. Food and cafeteria, that's pretty good, B-. I got all black cooks. Nutrition,
Again, disclaimer.
a D. Locker room, an F. Training room, a D+. Training staff, a C. Weight room, a C. L. Levine, the talking machine.
Where's the D minus?
Pardon me?
Where's the D minus?
Coming.
The
Wait
D.
until the draft.
No, so again, for Mike Tomlin, listen, if I'm 25 years old, like you are, or how old are you?
I'm 26 now.
You're
guy.
26.
Yeah.
Just say you're 25. If you're a 25-year-old multi-millionaire and you can go anywhere in the country and play, it's Miami, it's LA, it's New York, it's Dallas, it's not Pittsburgh. And for Mike Tomlin to get all these great players to want to come here and play here and make the playoffs here, I tell you what, that's a Hall of Fame guy. And when he retires as a Pittsburgh Steeler, he'll retire with Don Shula's record. He'll break Don Shula's record. So we get, even though me and Mike Tomlin butts heads, we don't like each other anymore. But I got to give that man
Go ahead.
respect
You can rebut
for
first.
what he's doing for the city.
So how often do Los Angeles, Miami teams, how often do they win championships?
Well, I tell you what, you go to the clubs never close, brother. You're 25 years old with millions. You don't need the cocaine.
What if you're 26?
Yeah.
What if you're 26?
Hey, if you're 25 years old with millions and want to be broke by the time you're 30, you go to Miami. You go to L.A.
It's a good time, brother.
Well,
They don't produce winners.
Huh?
They don't produce winners.
But they produce the structure that
Try to spit it out.
These rich people like. You know what I mean? When the street lights come on, there's still clubs open.
Did Mike
and
Tomlin keep
restaurants open.
the great Ben Roethlisberger here too? Was that him?
Ben stayed here his whole career.
Because of Tomlin? That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to say that. He was already established.
Okay.
But the players he get in,
You ever heard of cherry picking? Yeah, you're just cherry picking the.
He doesn't understand.
well, the
Tell
dark.
him he's picking low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, he knows all about cherry picking. He likes Alex Ovechkin.
Hey, Smoking, I got a great
It's okay to agree with me.
No, I got to bring up a point. You say we had a lot of great players here, and we do have them. For 14 years, I've been here in a D-.
That's draft.
What do you
That's
mean?
different than free agency.
Since
No, but
1974.
are the players great?
Since 1974, we sent 5 Hall of Famers
Okay.
in that draft.
Yeah, I think you just read from a list, and that was the segment.
Just a little side note, or a little off the record here.
That's all this was.
Smoking Jim, he's not a reader. He's a known writer. He even won I don't know if it was a Pulitzer Prize, but a Golden Quill. So he wrote an article that somebody liked, and they gave him a Golden Quill. He doesn't read. Wouldn't you say all of us, including everybody here 2 months ago, we knew what he said?
Hey, Saturday night I had dinner with Merrill Hodge. I don't know whose CTE was worse.
Wow.
We got along good. We understood one another.
All right, we got to move on from Smoking Jim. Merrill Hodge is doing a lot of great things. Even wrote a book. Smoking Jim didn't write a book yet, so we'll see. And he suffers egregiously. No offense against anybody who has CTE. Get help, unlike him. Let's go to Chip Hayner and trivia time, 10 seconds.
Oh, it's me.
Speaking of Jim,
No.
speaking of Jim and the
That
books
was
he's
trivia,
read,
Vinny.
He did read one, Fun with Dick and Jane.
He had to, though. And the teacher helped him.
Okay.
That was good, Chip.
So last week I was talking about some sports records that would never be broken.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So this week I figured I'd carry on in the same vein. What I did was I came up with 8 unbreakable college football records.
Oh, I love
What
it.
do you think about this, Smoking Jim?
I love it.
So number 1, number of interceptions thrown in a game.
Wow.
Most individual interceptions thrown in a single game were 9 by John Reeves.
Wow.
So that's a pretty impressive statistic.
Yeah.
Next up, you should know this.
I do.
Single season sack record in college football.
Guy for Pitt, 28.
It says Derek Thomas tallied 27 sacks at Alabama in the 1988 season. Terrell Sugg chased the record at Arizona State, totaling 24. Next up,
That's
combined
one of the 3
single
times
game
Smoker's wrong.
offensive yards record. Defense was an afterthought in the Big 12. The offensive record for a single game offensive yards record, 1,708.
Wow.
Both teams. And they said that they had 11 men on each side on defense. I don't think so. The longest winning streak. There have been several great dynasties, but few rival the juggernaut of Bud Wilkinson.
Ooh,
47 games.
what a coach.
Yes, sir. Most passing yards by opposing quarterbacks. Reeves still led Florida to a single when he finished his call. The 10. Let's see here. Most passing yards allowed. No, I lost it on that
Oh,
one.
jeez.
I don't know who the participants were. Most rushing yards in a season. Most rushing yards in the season.
Emmitt Smith.
No, I think it was Barry Sanders, or wasn't that Barry
Yeah,
Sanders?
Barry Sanders.
Barry
That record
Sanders.
never be broke.
And last but not least, career receiving yards was by Davis in Nevada's Trevor Inslee, 1996 to 1999, 5,278 yards
Wow.
in his
Wow.
college career.
I don't
But
even remember.
yeah, we don't remember him because he never played in the NFL.
What was his name?
Enslow. Not too
It's gone.
slow, but Enslow.
Ensler, I think his name was, but he played probably at a Division II or Division III school.
Like smoking.
But there you go. 8
you, Chip.
records that will probably never be broken, and the Pirates are down 1-0 in the top of the 6th.
Go Bucks. Go Buccos. All right, we've been teased with this next one. Nick, VIP Callis, 10 seconds.
My turn. Okay, let's talk about the Pirates again. So I've been hearing some stories and I've been hearing some information about Bob Nutting's response to all of the nonsense that's gone on, and I think it's an interesting dynamic as it relates to I think all sports and all teams, which is what is your relationship? What's the owner's relationship to the team, and what does that mean, and what goes on? Now, we usually have Neil Walker on Tuesdays on the morning show at The Fan, and I wanted to ask him how much of a role like the owner played, not just in Pittsburgh, but like when he played for the Mets, like, you know, was that owner at the time, like coming into the locker room and like giving speeches and stuff. I'm watching a Netflix series right now called Running Point, which is this lady who's become the owner of the team, and she's very involved, but that's also fiction. Like, does that actually happen in real life? I know Jerry Jones is like everything with the Dallas Cowboys, and I think his direct involvement actually hinders that team from being great a lot of the time. So, like, what's the relationship of an owner supposed to be to the team? What I know about Bob Nutting is that Bob Nutting likes baseball, but Bob Nutting isn't like a genius when it comes to baseball. The guy's a businessman. So what does any businessman that likes baseball do? He buys a baseball team, and then he hires a bunch of people who are supposed to know what to do and how to make a team sustainable and make a team win. And so I've heard some things these past couple weeks where I think I mentioned this last week too, where Ben Cherington is putting a lot of money into development and into the resources, right?
Yeah.
And so Bob Nutting's the guy that hired him, though. Like, Bob Nutting signs off on those decisions. I also have heard that Bob Nutting usually will sign off on certain decisions, but puts the full faith trust in guys like the general managers and the managers and the front office staff to execute these moves in a way that's going to benefit the team. So when the owner is not hiring the right people, you expect the owner to take action and to make some firings, but then again, he's not firing the manager or the general manager right now. Like, he's letting these play out. Clint Hurdle got to stay around for a long time, and Neil Huntington got to stay around for a long time because they had successful teams. They had a winning culture, and they were almost good in 2018 before they completely fell off the map, and there was a whole Felipe Vasquez thing, as you remember. Ooh. And by that time, like, there was a time for a culture shift. But, like, did anybody not sense, with Derek Shelton, I mean, I just said it, the culture was starting to shift the wrong way. Like, the Pirates were doing really good to start the season, and they had some guys that were interesting and some guys that were, like, developing, but then they were falling off. And so who do you blame in this case then, now, where you keep the same manager, the same general manager, who is reportedly putting all this money into resources and development, only for, like, literally no development to be sustained coming through the organization. Like, the prospects that play for the Pirates, they're not developing, and they haven't developed since they've come up on this team. I mean, Paul Skeens, I'd argue he didn't have to develop. He was already really good, and the Pirates haven't messed him up, though his velocity is down this season to start, which there could be a lot of factors for that, but it's just like, when you think about your owner of a team, and you look at all the owners that exist in sports, it's like, where does Bob Nutting sit in this dynamic? And it's interesting. He's a guy that likes baseball but doesn't know enough to actually run a team on his own, and that's what most business people do. They hire the people to do that for them. What has Ben Cherington demonstrated, though, in his time here in Pittsburgh? A lot of resource and development work without a lot of tangible results in the sixth season now. The only difference is it's weird because they've started out so bad. The Pirates have been so bad to start this season that it's felt. It's felt everywhere. And so what do you do? I mean, do you really want the owner to go away? Maybe you do. Maybe you're one of those people. Do you think that maybe Bob Nutting could hire the right people and make better strategic decisions? Maybe. I just don't think he's capable of that based on what I know about him. And so you already know my opinion. I mean, I would get rid of Cherington. I would get rid of Shelton. I would have done that at the end of last season because, like I said, they were hitting a peak, and it felt like they just needed somebody else to push them a little better and to manage the team in a way that wasn't developing. Like, Derek Shelton was managing the Pirates like he was still developing them. He was putting players in almost to get them playing time and get them major league experience, not to put the best guys in certain situations for them to win. And that's what's frustrating about this. So is Ben Cherington telling Derek Shelton what to do? And which guys to develop, which guys to give more playing time? Like where is that chain of command going? And that's what's so frustrating as a fan, is because you don't know. And I'd like to like Bob Nutting, but it's hard to be a likable guy, especially when fans are looking for an excuse to be upset, and then the front office of the Pirates botches like 3 big things in the span of 2 weeks. So what do? I don't know. I'll let you have your own opinion on the situations. I know how, I probably could guess how Al feels, but you know how I feel. You know where I stand. Like, it's just hard to come to a resolution, and that's why fans are so frustrated. I think is because like there's no answer. There's nothing here that feels like they could get over the hump when so many other teams across Major League Baseball, at the least, have figured it out at least how to get to the playoffs every few years by going through development and proper free agent searches and signings. So that's what I got.
I agree with you.
Oh, great. Okay.
The point I wanted to make is I want to know who was responsible for the bricks. I rest my case. He knows and isn't allowed to tell because they have Chip. He has those quote unquote insiders, and I don't want to fire Chip up. So we have too many inside jokes. But no, you did well because you observe it. We've all lived through this with watching our Pirates, except for smoking.
Yeah, it's not ours. Yeah, I'm unbiased. I'm a journalist.
You think with all your Bitcoin money you could buy the Pirates? What
No, he
what,
did.
what Bitcoin money?
He did, but it was on paper.
Oh.
Thanks.
That
All
was
right,
cool.
let's go to On Location. I got less than 3 minutes to try to explain what's going on. All right, back on location. I did like a hybrid on location. I do the talking machine interview show, and I had Vinny in the control room help me film a great event that this Joanne Forrester and Bonnie DiCarlo do. They honor women, and they're all about women people. So they asked me to film it, so I did it under the talking machine. It'll come out in May. And we had a great award luncheon. I worked for Salmon Lunch, and so did Vinny, so we did that. And I had to interview over 12 judges, actually women judges in Pittsburgh, and ones that are running for office. So I was impressed by it, and I'm hopeful with all these people and they're running. And we can't talk about who to vote for and whatever else, because on public access you got to give a 90-day to have rebuttals from everybody. So won't mention their names, but watch the show. And these women are in family division, family court, common plea, and all throughout the city and state. And I was just impressed by how they want to help average people and how they care about average families and children and women and men. And they want to do the right thing. And it's refreshing in these crazy times to be able to interview all of these stellar women. I salute all the women, and it's a great show. It's going to be split in two. And there'll be one with just my interviews of the judges. They kept sending them to me, and you know I can talk, so I handled the whole thing. We normally only do a 29-minute show, but I think we crossed over 2 hours. So check it out. I'm proud of that. And I didn't know where to put my On Location because it wasn't Pittsburgh Sportsline, but it was On Location with the Talking Machine interview. So check it out. And thank for all of you tuning in for all these years and all that. We're closing in on 1,000 shows for Pittsburgh Sportsline. It's a big thing, but I actually have over 1,000 already with all these other shows. So I don't know what happened. I'm blessed and thankful. And it's because of you guys in Bethel Park and all the area that I can do this. And look, they're making us all look great. Thanks to my whole team. Stay Joey strong.